Alright, this is lesson 7.8 on page 172, and it's on quotation marks. It's pretty easy, but they do try to confuse you with one thing, so we're just going to go over everything. Follow along with the book. For your warm up, I want you to finish this dialogue. This year's lineup is the best ever, said Zach, and you need to have someone else respond something. So if you have something like, I think we'll be unstoppable, said Eric, you are correct. All you needed was to fill in more dialogue and who was speaking. And now onto the rules of quotation marks. The first one is when people are speaking, or the book refers to it as a complete quotation. So Diego said, I wish we could go back to school. This is a complete quotation, a complete sentence of what Diego said, okay? When the speaker is at the front of the sentence, the comma goes outside the quotes. I agree, but I am enjoying this time at home with my family. When the speaker is at the end of the sentence, the comma goes inside the quotes. So in the beginning, outside, at the end, inside. But sometimes it could be both. Sometimes you have an interrupter. I think work was easier in class, interrupted Clarabelle, but I like getting my work done when I want to. There should be an end quote right here. There is a comma inside the quotes because the speaker's right here, but then the quote continues going. So there's a comma outside the quotes, okay? And I apologize, but there should be quotes right here. The second rule is using quotation marks for short titles. So this full list is in your book for songs, short stories, poems, anything that's small, you put in quotes. They also, this is the confusing part I talked about earlier. They put punctuation on the outside when there's not a complete quote. So the example sentences are good on there. I kind of revised them. Who said, I have a dream? This isn't a complete quote, and there is no speaker in this sentence. Someone isn't saying this, okay? So that's why the question mark's on the outside. Or, I have finally finished my poem, Distance Learning Stinks. That's the title of the poem. No one is speaking that. There is no speaker in this sentence. That's why the exclamation mark goes on the outside. And lastly, they let you know that you need to underline or italicize titles for big things. So the little things like songs, articles, TV shows, or episodes, those were in quotes. But when it's bigger, they are underlined or italicized. So like movies, plays, TV series, newspapers. Again, this is all in the book, so you can look on page 172 for a list of all of those. Exercise 1 says, give the rule that applies to the use of quotation marks, italics, and commas in these sentences. So I accidentally showed all the answers. Whoops. But number 1, it says, how shall we be governed so as to retain our liberties? Abigail Adams asked. So that's a complete quote. That's why the question mark is inside the quotes, and the quotation marks go around everything that was said. Number 2, she continued, who shall frame these laws? Comma goes outside because the speaker's at the beginning, and the quotation marks go around the complete quotation. And number 3, the writings of Abigail was published in History Weekly. So that is an example of an article. That's not anyone speaking, so that's why it's title of an article. Let me know if you have any questions.